Hey everybody, it's Christina here. It's a little after 10 o'clock and I'm getting ready to do my 3rd year anniversary scale burning. And to give you an idea of why I'm doing this, because you're probably thinking, what is this woman up to? If you think about the role that the scale plays in our lives as food addicts, as people with eating disorders, it's tremendous. Scales are not our friends. They will never be our friends. Scales tell us only one thing: how much we weigh. And what does that even mean? I mean, what does that weight on the scale mean? What does it tell us about who we are inside? What does it tell us about our recovery? What does it tell us about anything? It just gives us a number. It's a measure. We know, as you probably know, that your weight, by the way, I'm outside so it's a little dark, that your weight can fluctuate and does fluctuate based on foods that you eat, based on what time of the month that it is if you're a woman, based on how hot it is. You should see how much I'm retaining water today because it's like 90 degrees and humid today. If I got on the scale, which I will not because I don't even have a scale anymore, it wouldn't be an accurate reflection of anything that I'm doing, of how well I'm doing in recovery or how much I'm exercising or how good I feel inside my head or in my body. It just wouldn't tell us anything. And so one of the things that I've really been working on and I struggled with for the first probably 2.5 years of my recovery was the place of the scale in that recovery. I just couldn't let it go. I was even probably well into the end of the first year of my recovery, I was still weighing myself 10 times, 20 times a day. I don't know what I was looking for. 0.5 pounds difference, up, down, in and out. I clung to the scale. I just could not possibly let it go because I really strongly felt that it was, without it, that somehow I would lose my recovery or I would ignore something or I would let it go. I don't know really what I was thinking. I just couldn't let that scale go. And it was just so, it ended up being a bad thing. We were in a bad relationship with each other, let's put it that way. And so tonight, I think it's time here at my 3rd year in recovery anniversary that I really let it go. The batteries went out in my scale probably, I want to say 6 months ago, but it could be longer. So for the first time in my adult life, actually the first time since age 10, I have no idea what I weigh. I could weigh 900 pounds. I could weigh 109 pounds. I have no idea. And I like it that way because I'm telling you, what it says on the scale doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't tell me about my health. It doesn't tell me about my well-being. At my highest weight, at 353 pounds, my cholesterol was 115, which is what it is now. What does that, I mean, does that, I don't know, what is it telling you? Anyways, I know how to tell if I'm doing well in my recovery. I know because I have less obsessive thoughts about food. I know because I'm binging less, I'm eating compulsively less. I know when I'm doing well in my recovery and I don't need a scale to tell me, to make me feel bad. So anyways, let's get this party started. So I wanted to show everybody, copy here. This is the workbook that I put together called, and now you can't see it because the light is blocking it, the Optimistic Food Addicts Recovery Journal and Activity Workbook. And so on one of the pages in the book, you're flipping through it, there is, let me see if I can find it, a scale. And I took that scale and I did what I asked all of you to do, and that is I wrote every nasty thing the scale has ever said to me on my picture of the scale. Things like, and you've probably heard this before, so I get on the scale and this is what I see, the number. I don't like the number, so the scale tells me, you're fat, you're ugly, you smell, you can't control yourself, boys don't like fat girls, you shouldn't go out like that. In other words, you shouldn't go out in public being that fat, whatever that number is. Everyone hates you. You can't control yourself. You're a loser. No one will love you. You're such a waste. No wonder you're lonely. All kinds of things that, those things aren't true. And so it's time for me to officially let go of the scale. So if you can't see, again, I'm outside now, my big head is blocking the door here, but I'm getting ready to torch this puppy. So I had originally planned on getting a, oh, now it's blacked out completely. I'd originally planned on getting a new gas grill, gas fireplace for out back, because I've been wanting one anyway to just sit out back. But when I went to pick it up, parts of it were missing. And so I am burning my scale, and hopefully you can see this. Just catching the puppy on fire out back. I don't mean puppy for real, I mean my scale, my paper scale. And it's lighting up right now, and there it goes. You know, here I am in my 3rd year of recovery. When I first entered recovery, there's no way that I could have imagined in a million years that I would be standing here in recovery, in good recovery. And it's about time the scale left my life forever. And I hope if you're doing this with me that you're thinking what I'm thinking, that, you know, it's about time to let go of the power, that weight, the power that societal expectations have over us. And check it out, my little scale here is nothing but a cinder. And I hope again that you all, I'm going to light it again just because, that you are out there burning up your scales as well, or your little effigies of scales. I wanted to, and I thought about doing a scale bashing party, which is something that a lot of college programs do, to get rid of their scales and to help women feel empowered by that. But I couldn't find my scale anymore, that the batteries went dead in, and I didn't want to buy a scale, you know, for this reason. Alright guys, well, my scale is gone. My paper scale anyway, and hopefully those feelings that I had that were associated with that scale all those years is gone too. And I think, since that didn't take very long, that maybe I'll just sit out here for a few minutes. It's so nice outside. It's about, my stupid phone keeps blocking my face. It's a little after 10 here in West Virginia, and maybe I'll just talk to you for a little bit about how it feels to be at the 3-year mark. So, as some of you know, if you've been following my story, I entered recovery 3 years ago when I couldn't take the food obsession. I couldn't take the pain of it anymore. It was not about my weight. At that point, I could have weighed 11 pounds and still been devastated inside, crushed inside from what was happening with me in my relationship with myself and with food. So that wasn't what motivated me. What motivated me to change and to get into recovery was just this devastated feeling like this was never going to end, that I was going to continue to hate myself and dislike my body, and it would never let up, and I would never be able to have a decent relationship with food again, which is necessary if you're going to live, am I right? Anyways, so here I am, 3 years later, 3 years after that date. It has not been an easy battle. I did relapse, and I talked about that in today's blog post. And that relapse was very hard on me, because at that point I truly believed that my recovery was bulletproof. I honestly did. My first 18 months into recovery were nothing. It was a breeze. Once I got over that 2-week or so withdrawal period when I quit sugar and flour, I thought I had it made. But in reality, that was just the beginning, and that was sort of the sparkly pink period that came before what was really the hard work in recovery. A lot of addicts of all kinds, alcohol, drug, whatever, will say that the first year in recovery is what you don't do, and the second year is what you do. And I think I did at some point. I don't want to say I got too comfortable with my recovery, but I think that I let my guard down, and I stopped doing the things that were necessary to maintain good recovery. And then when my recovery was challenged with that incident with the men in the coffee shop that I talk about in my blog, I didn't meet that challenge. I ultimately failed and slid off of the path of recovery. But, you know, that's something that I went through in it. If anyone ever tells you I entered recovery and I got abstinent, and I've been abstinent for 20 years without falling off the wagon. Give that person a hand, because I don't think there's too many people that are like that. I think that in fact the statistics tell us that our disease, binge eating disorder, food addiction, has a very, very high relapse rate. But what I do know on the other side, and here I am on the other side, and I'm promising you this, that you do not have to be in relapse forever. That it is hard, it's very hard to get back out again, but it is not a life sentence. You can regain your abstinence, you can regain your recovery after you go into relapse. So please, please, if you are in that relapse state, and I know that some of our group members are, don't give up. Do not give up, because you can regain your abstinence. You can regain your good recovery. Now, some people say, geez, Christina, how can you say you've been in recovery for 3 years if you broke your abstinence? Well, because I don't believe in starting over. I know that that's stuff that OA tells you, that FAA tells you, but I'm not going down that road. To me, day one indicates dieting culture. It indicates that you didn't learn anything over that period of time. And I'll tell you what, I learned a lot in relapse, and I'm writing about it right now, about everything that I learned during that process of relapse. It's tremendous, actually. I learned more in relapse than I did when I was abstinent. That's the truth. I don't recommend relapse to anybody, because it is an uphill climb to get out again. It takes a long time and a lot of relearning and reappreciating some of the tools that you use during the early stages of recovery. So I don't recommend it, but I can tell you that I learned so much in relapse, and that's why I'm telling everybody about it. And you know, another thing that people say, well, don't you worry about having people follow you or read your books or whatever, just because or because you've relapsed. Do you really want to admit that? And I absolutely do want to admit that. And thank you for all the thumbs up and the smiley faces. And I'm going to continue to admit that. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did. I relapsed, and I was in relapse for a while. But I am back on the other side of that. And can I tell you that I'll never relapse again? Nope. And I think that's what got me into this mess in the first place, that I believed, and I remember telling my therapist that I'll never relapse, that my recovery is so good that I will never relapse. And in reality, that's the wrong way of looking at it. Don't look at yourself as never the possibility of relapse or the inevitability of relapse, but really live your recovery day by day, one day at a time. So the scale has been burned, and I hope as we go through the evening that all of you that have been burning your scales, that you post pictures, because I really want to see that. And I'm so glad to finally get one more thing, one step away, 10 steps away again from dieting culture, from the coercion from the scale, and from pant size and dress size and all those things that keep us deep in this disease. We live in a culture that promotes food addiction, that promotes binge eating, that promotes bad body image, and it makes us feel like crap. We're supposed to feel that way, because if we didn't, we wouldn't buy stuff. We wouldn't buy diet aids. We wouldn't buy more makeup. We wouldn't, you know, worry about, well, buy Spanx. We wouldn't buy all this stuff that's out there that's created to make us feel better and look better, or believe that we look better. Our society promotes that, and we just, you know, we got to give it up. And so my next step in giving it up is burning the scale and never bringing it back. So anyways, thank you all for coming and joining in, and all the little hearts and thumbs up you've been sending me. Oh, I absolutely love it. This has been the best celebration in recovery that I have had so far. 3 years. And what that means is that I am a completely different person than I was 3 years ago, that I have learned so much about myself and my disease. And I hope that I've been helping you by sharing my story with you all this time. So anyways, I guess I'm going to sign off. And oh, look for me probably next week or the next week to talk with you all about the book that, or the class that I'm working on, that will help you make friends with your food addiction. You think that's possible? I think it is, because I've been working on it. So I'll see you all later. Sorry about the bad lighting, but I am outside because I didn't want to catch my scale on fire in my kitchen, because I think That'd probably be a bad idea. Anyways, I sure hope to see your pictures of your scales burning, or even a little video. That would be so awesome. That would make my recovery celebration day 1,000 times better. I love you all. Thank you so much for being with me on this journey. I hope that I've helped you.